Hello and welcome to Todd Rolls Dice, where we're going to take a look at the Age of Sigmar offerings at the Adepticon 2025 preview. Not so much as 40k here. I think that's expected. Sigmar seems to have stalled since the last preview. We're still waiting on the Soulblight Gravelords to even go up for pre-order, let alone release. Sigmar's had quite a good last couple of months anyway with Gloomspite Gits. We've had Chaos, we had Gloomspite Gits who also got an army box. Was there another tome that came out? Oh, Orruk War Clans came out as well. They didn't get quite as much love in all honesty, but still, it's probably more than 40k has had until March, so can't really complain, and it is by far the lesser game to 40k in terms of popularity. So I wasn't really surprised that we didn't get a huge amount. We didn't even get an updated roadmap, but I will run over the roadmap anyway because it is at the bottom of this article, so we'll touch on that. But the big reveal, well, there was actually two big reveals, and they're both in this article, so we're going to get through them very quickly. First one is Spearhead, so we'll start with Spearhead, as it is resurrected in Shyish while matched play uproots to Gairan. Match play for AoS, not for Spearhead. Spearhead is still the same game, just a new setting, which is cool. I like it, although I do have a complaint. If you want to watch these videos, I covered the reveal in full. I will link it at the end of this video if you want to see my entire Adepticon reaction. You're more than welcome to. Let me know what you think in the comments over there. But the fighting is ferocious in Warhammer Age of Sigmar, and it's only getting worse in the wake of the Vermin Doom. As armies clash across the mortal realms, we draw our attention to Spearhead, where the focus is shifting to the realm of death. New roles and new forces are coming, expanding on what's already on offer in Fire and Jade, and offering yet more ways to play fast and furious games. Warhammer Age of Sigmar. Right off the bat, they are confirming that this is a release that is meant to run alongside Fire and Jade. Fire and Jade is not going anywhere. All of those Spearheads are still legal as we go into the second year of 4th edition. All they're doing is adding new Spearheads and new areas for you to fight over. But beyond that, we prepare to move into the 2025-26 season of match play with a new Generals Handbook and an event entitled Scourge of Gairan. Scourge of Gairan is cool. I wasn't expecting that, but we knew a new Generals Handbook was coming summertime, so that's not really too much of a surprise. But Spearhead Sand and Bone Gaming Pack invites you into Shyish, including a double-sided game board showing the sepulchral environs of Dolorum and the endless chilling deserts of Osaya. So we get Spearhead Sand and Bone, which is a new book. It looks much thinner to the Fire and Jade book, which has all of the Spearheads. We don't need that. The Spearheads are always available online for free, which is good, so it's not like we're losing access to those rules. And if you buy the Age of Sigmar Ultimate Starter Set, you get everything Fire and Jade included with all those models. In fact, that set is just Spearhead with 2 Spearheads and all the stuff you need to play the first year's expansion. But this is something new. I say new, I use that term very loosely. So, a new realm means new twists, new battle tactics, new objectives, named for the Monarchs of Nagash, and terrain fit for the Realm of Death, which is reused terrain. You may recognise it from Warcry, Crypt of the Dead starter set. They seem to just be churning this terrain out for anything. Really disappointing, although I don't own this terrain. I quite like this terrain. I think I prefer this terrain over the Fire and Jade stuff. But it is a shame that they haven't come up with 6 new pieces of terrain. I know that this is Shyish themed, but it is just a shame that we're not getting something new. It's not like it's a huge multi-model resculpt or complete new designs for a whole new army. You know, I think maybe I'm just being picky, but still, I don't own this, so for me, this is borderline acceptable. We also have our double-sided gaming board. They did point out that this purple board here in the deserts, it only has 4 objectives, which brings the fighting much, much closer, which is cool. And then we have a bigger objective here, which means you're going to be fighting over that a bit more, which is, again, pretty fun. Adds new elements to the game. And obviously all the cards. These are brand new cards themed for Shyish, which is really cool. The gaming pack contains all of this, a 24-page book for rules for the Sand and Bone Spearhead Battle Pack, and rules for 4 new Spearhead armies. So the rules for that zone and these new Spearhead armies are in the book. I would also expect the Spearhead armies rules to be available online for free. So you'll still need the core rules to play, which you can download for free from WarCom or find in the AoS app. I quite like the AoS app, to be honest. It isn't perfect, but it does a good enough job. And this is where you'll find the Spearhead and the core rules and everything that you'll need to get into this. Cities of Sigmar Fusel Platoon Spearhead. So you get a good mix of shooty Cities of Sigmar models. What I love about this is they're also including the Wildercorp Warcry box, which is probably my favourite Warcry, second favourite Warcry warband. Obviously my favourite is the Dark Oath Savages. But I really like these guys. I'd love to sort of kit bash them if possible to have bows instead. But still, I think these are great, and you get so many dogs with them as well, which is cool. So the cities of Sigmar face the horrors of the mortal realms with little more than hope in their hearts and an arsenal of black powder. The Fusel Platoon is a mobile gunnery brigade led by Fusel Major on Ogre Warhulk, guy in the back left there. It's such a weird model. I don't know if I love it or I hate it. It's very Age of Sigmar. And you also get an Alchemite Warforger for support. That's the guy in front there. It's not a model I love, I'll be honest. You get 2 units of 5 Fusiliers, and they're the main damage dealers, unleashing devastating volleys as a unit of Wildercorp hunters harry enemy flanks. Enemies will have to contend with their ability to fortify their position against inbound assaults. So these guys have 2 firing roles. One is a bog standard move and shoot. The other one is drop the shields, get better defense, and have a better firing position. You can't move, but overall you're a harder target to shift. And 2 units of 5 gives you some nice control at range. So this is quite nice. Spearhead 2 is the Seraphon Sunblood Prowlers. Again, Warcry team here, and I believe these guys are from Underworlds, an older Underworlds. I think I prefer the other Seraphon Spearhead, but this has got a better mix of models, I think. Certainly for Spearhead as a game. But the Great Plan has so many moving parts that any mortal mind would boggle at the scope of it. But the martial forces of the Seraphon need not worry about its fractal complexity. All they do is bash whomever the Shan tell them to. So this box contains the brute strength of 10 Saurus warriors and a spawn of Shotek with 2 units of 5 hunters of Honchai and 3 Terrorwings that use their chameleonic abilities and natural speed to run rings around their foes. Okay, they sound interesting. I don't know Seraphon rules. They sound like a sneaky, obviously there's the strength here, and these guys will probably be quite strong in melee. But these guys might be a problem harrying the flanks and things as well, so it sounds like there might be a good mix of stuff there. Spearhead 3 and much less model count, the Osiak Bone Reapers Mortison Elite. So the Osiak Bone Reapers have 2 raison d'etre, collecting the bone tithe and enforcing the will of Nagash. This is usually accomplished with overwhelming force, though there are times when a swift and incisive strike can achieve the same result as a full legion. The Mortison Elite are one such vanguard, a compact but deadly arrangement of 2 Morgeist Archai, or is that what they are? They remind me of the Thousand Suns robots. 3 Immortis Guard, which is those guys there at the back, and 3 Necropolis Stalkers, which is the dual-armed, dual-wielding guys, or quad-armed, dual-wielding guys at the back there, under the command of the Mortison Ossifector, which is the newish model there at the front. Making up for their low numbers with overwhelming power and their signature relentless discipline, I expect this Spearhead to be brutal on the charge and in melee combat in general. Probably a little bit of speed here, but I don't think your objective is going to be to move too far from the objective markers or certain points of the board that you want to control once you've got there. I think the problem might be getting there, but we'll see. I mean, this is apparently a very elite Spearhead. But I think these models are stunning. I'd be tempted to pick this up personally. And our final one is the Ogre More Tribes Scrap Glut. This is just a weird mix of stuff, I think. Ogre tribes aren't an army that I would ever look to collect, but this is just quite a mix of characterful things. And again, I believe, is it a mix of Warcry or Underworlds, as well as the standard Sigmar units? But aside from eating, Ogre hunters love nothing more than repurposing scrap metal into deadly man-traps and crude weapons, sending Noblars out to scour battlefields for more good bits. Their scrap glut operates under the command of a man-trapper, that guy there in the middle, and features 12 Noblars, a Noblar scrap launcher, which is probably that, and 2 units of Iron Guts. They're going to be a pain to shift, with an additional unit of 4 Iron Guts arriving only when the fighting is at its fiercest. So very much like the Andrasta Spearhead, these guys will be having a scrap, and then another set of these guys can come in probably turn 3 and just either try and turn the tide of the battle or just demolish your foes. Interesting. I'll be interested to see how they play. Like I say, it's not something that I'm going to look into because it isn't a design aesthetic or a vibe that I really gel with, but they do look fun, and I like teams who you keep stuff back in reserve that comes in later, and I kind of like that idea. I think it works quite well in this game as well. But that's our 4 Spearhead. And if you want to win Age of Sigmar starter bundle, you can sign up to the newsletter before midnight on the 13th of April. This article is linked in the description of this video if you do want to join. There are apparently 10 prizes up on offer. It's the perfect opportunity to get involved just in time for Sand and Bone. So that tells me Sand and Bone isn't going up for pre-order just yet. Then moving on to Age of Sigmar proper. There will be more Spearheads coming alongside future battle tomes. I don't think that's a surprise to anybody either. For those who enjoy competing in match play, a vital update is just around the corner. While Spearhead is moving to Shaiish, the battles of match play are shifting to Gairan for a season of blossoms and bloodshed in the realm of life. The Generals Handbook 2025-26 is the essential next update to the Warhammer Age of Sigmar matched play experience, and for the first time it comes in a box that contains the Generals Handbook, the battle plan cards, war scrolls for manifestations and associated spell laws, and 6 objective marker mats made from the flexible PET material so you can start playing right away. I don't know how much this is going to be. Hopefully it's reasonably priced. I know we're talking Games Workshop here, but I think it's cool. Whereas Warhammer does everything in, like 40k does everything individually, this is great, especially when the objective markers have symbols on and you need them for competing in said battlefields. So this is good. I like it. I just hope that it's not 40 or 50 quid and everybody's kind of scratching their head, but we'll see. So this 72-page softback book contains the background of the war in the Jade Realm alongside the core rules in the match play battle pack, featuring updated advanced rule modules. This battle pack also contains a new season rule, which means new battle tactics and 12 new battle plan maps. We'll have more details soon, but expect significant changes to battle tactics as the system shifts from a series of sequential goals that you need to select as part of army composition. But that's not all for Age of Sigmar, as the Scourge of Gairan is almost upon us. In the weeks leading up to the new Generals Handbook, I'm thinking May time, every faction will receive free content from new enhancement choices to entire battle formations. So they're not saying every faction is getting both, every faction is getting something. I like that. They will all be legal for matched play as soon as the book lands, and you'll be able to download them free on WarCom or through the Age of Sigmar app. And you can expect a daily short story accompanying each faction drop. Exciting times ahead. Certainly for the lore of Sigmar, now is a great time for me to be brushing up and building into that narrative style, especially now I've got I think I've figured out how I can do book reviews and things. So hopefully we're going to be doing this stuff. I'm not saying I'm going to spend every day reading you guys a story, but we'll have a little look and see what the factions are at the very least, I think. And finally, for Age of Sigmar, we have an updated roadmap. So nothing has really changed. We didn't actually see anything that we thought, certainly that I thought, I'll put it that way. So the new Spearhead is a nice surprise, but I wasn't expecting it. And the General's Handbook, again, I wasn't expecting it, but I don't think it's a surprise that we're getting those products. But according to their roadmap, now, Soulblight Gravelords are still waiting in the wings, so they'll be going up for pre-order at some point soon, hopefully. Spearhead, Sand and Bone will be following it, along with the General's Handbook. I'm expecting those two to be twinned in the week, or it might be a whole everything, all three of those products, plus the Spearheads, go up for pre-order at the same weekend. I can see them doing that with Sigmar. Coming next, Idoneth Deepkin. We knew Blades of Khorne, I think we'd figured that one out. Caradron Overlords we'd figured out too, and finally the Nighthaunt. That is all in the next few months. And on the horizon, we have seen this picture, we have seen this exact shot on the previous roadmap. It could only be the Flesh Eater Courts. It's the wing of the vampire from the new Battle Tome. I think it's on the index cards as well. No real surprises there. But what I find interesting is we don't have any other on the horizon, because there's still battle tomes to come. And while 40k is dropping all of the chaosy battle tomes together with their chosen gods, Sigmar is doing it differently with Blades of Khorne, and then we're still waiting on the others. So, you know, they could have given us a bit more. There's nothing new on here. The only new reveals that we've had are coming a lot sooner than the stuff we've been waiting for. But hey, at least we know this stuff is still meant to be coming on the horizon, so that's cool. And that's us. I think my favourite of this stuff is probably just the Shaiish Sand and Bone expansion for Spearhead. Alright, I complain about the terrain, but it adds a bit more variety. Having been doing Spearhead for 12 months now, it's nice to get something new, different tactics, different boards to fight over. And as you know, as well, we know that they're going to be continuing doing new Spearhead faction boxes and things. I think they're great boxes overall. I think each one is very good, and seeing how each one play will be really interesting, and seeing how the new faction boxes are integrated into the existing, or at least against the existing, while keeping the balance that Spearhead seems to have done pretty well, I think is going to be interesting. But let me know what stood out for you from the Age of Sigmar reveals. It was, in all honesty, I don't know what I was expecting some Idoneth Deepkin. I'm not that gutted about not seeing them, but still, it feels like Sigmar isn't getting as much over the next few months, but who knows, we'll see. WarCom may have some pretty cool reveals coming up on its own, because every time the presenters of the show, Nick and Alex, were asked a question, it was very much, check WarCom, they will be releasing information on anything coming in the future. So outside of another reveal show, which we haven't heard anything of, I don't think, then it's all going to be on Warcom, and we will of course all be covering it here. I do want to get games of Spearhead at the very least on the channel at some point in the next few months. So yeah, it's good, it's exciting. I'm interested to see how all this goes, and I think that the constant support that certainly Spearhead is getting just shows how well it's been received, and it makes me very happy at the very least. But that's us for this one. If you've enjoyed this, please do leave a like, it all helps. We've had a fantastic last week on the channel, really solid growth. I'm amazed how much support this channel has had in the last week with the Adepticon reveals across many of the games that we cover. Hopefully we're going to be able to keep that up and keep growing. It's fantastic. I'm completely blown away, so thank you very much. We might do a look at the old world stuff, because the Grand Cathay stuff was amazing, beautiful plastic model reveals, which is something special for old world. So we'll probably have a look at that tomorrow. I've got a few other things working on as well, and of course we'll have our Sunday preview, so stick around for that. As always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.